621. Good morning. Tonya J. Powers from Fox News on the line right now. Good morning, Tonya.
Good morning.
Are we able to stay on topic? Do you have any knowledge of what's going on over in Brussels?
I have some of the details that are coming in. At least 13 have died in the explosions at the airport and the subway station there.
Before we get to the primary, you know what the scary thing is that they've been warning their residents there for the last 4 or 5 days that there is a new terror network that has popped up there, and that the danger is not over, the threat is not over, and right in front of our eyes, right before our security, they pull off something like that. That's the scary part of this.
Oh, it's extremely scary. I mean, you've got a what was it right there at the terminal and in a subway.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the same kind of setup. In airports and in major cities across the country here. I mean, it stands to reason that it would make people a little bit nervous today, to say the very least.
One quick comment and question: do we need to at some point change the security checkpoint? I mean, right now you can get into the building, you can get into the restaurants, you can get into the terminal area before you hit the gate where you're checked. I mean, that's where they say this happened, is before the security check.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from having bomb-sniffing dogs in the parking lot and the little mirror that they put underneath the cars to check for explosives and things like that, I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty extreme, and it would make travel a nightmare, to say the very least. But you're talking about people who've just died in a bombing attack.
Yeah.
So right now, anything seems plausible.
All right, big day today along the political trail, and you can only imagine that there will be talk about what has happened in Belgium, and we have primaries going on today.
Right. Well, and honestly, there needs to be talk about what's going on in Belgium because the next president, whoever that is going to have to deal with this kind of thing, not only dealing with it from a foreign policy standpoint from abroad, but they're going to have to work with these countries, and they're going to have to protect us here. So, and obviously we've seen that has just ramped up from each president, especially from 9/11 on. So, this is definitely going to get some play, and I would hope it would. We've got the Arizona presidential primary, 75 Democrat delegates, 58 Republican delegates are up for grabs there. Idaho, the Democrat, they have a caucus. Also, Utah has a caucus that has 33 delegates for the Democrats up for grabs and also 40 for the Republicans today.
Is this do you think that what's going on today, I mean, that it has to affect today's vote? It would seem something like this would, as much as maybe these Democrats don't like Hillary Clinton and their Bernie Sanders supporters, that maybe they would consider Hillary as being stronger when it comes to protecting the nation, although certainly Republicans question that.
Well, yeah, Republicans question that a lot. I would think there would be a lot of people who would have to be standing back going, wait a minute, for all of the things that she's, in trouble for doing, accused of doing, people don't like her for doing, whatever you want to say about her. She was the former Secretary of State.
Yeah.
So, and has knowledge of this sort of thing. Now, like I said, this won't be enough to overcome some Republicans.
Sure.
Definitely. And maybe even some Democrats who have questions. But
and on the other side, do you think this helps? Does this help or hurt Donald Trump?
That's a good question because, remember, he's the guy who wants to close the borders
and
is big on immigration and, keeping Muslims out of the country.
Yeah.
So that's a good question, especially coupled with the fact that you've got this story out of Belgium this morning with at least 13 people who've died in this explosion at the airport and the subway station. You got many more who are hurt, and the reports that the suicide bomber yelled something in Arabic before the explosion. That's definitely going to be in the mind of voters today, I would imagine.
And what is in terms of numbers? What's on the line?
Well, like I said, for the Republicans overall, you got 98 delegates that they could get if they get both of the states, Utah and Arizona, where they're voting for Republican delegates. Idaho is only doing the Democratic caucus today.
Got it. Tonya J. Powers, again, good time to have you on this morning. We really appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so the news just continues to trickle out of there. If you're just waking up, Christine will give you a little overview as to what has happened overnight, just a few hours ago in Brussels.
That's right. We had 2 explosions at the airport in Brussels, Belgium, and at least 1 explosion at the metro station, the train station there. At least 13 people, maybe as many as 23 people, have been reported dead. The news is conflicting coming out of there this morning because the scene is being described as chaotic at the very least. Hundreds injured. And this comes on the heels of an arrest of one of the Paris terror suspects in Brussels. The area has been on high alert for the past several days. Everyone in Brussels being told to shelter in place. Members of the EU, staff members of the EU being told not to go anywhere. France, Germany, all coming out saying that they are on high alert this morning as well.
All right, we'll do a full update coming up. Hold tight, coming right back at 6:28. First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.